Will we get a real snowstorm in New York City this winter? December started cold, but we haven't seen any snow, and now a warm-up lies ahead over the next few weeks. But this winter's going to have some tricks up its sleeve, and I think snow lovers' patience is going to be rewarded. Let's get into it. Hi guys, what's going on? I'm John with the New York Metro Weather. Today is December 5th, 2024. New York City has only seen 9.8 inches of snow over the last 2.5 years combined. That is not a lot. So it's not surprising that people are itching for a real proper snowstorm in the city this year. And you know what? We got off to a cold start of meteorological winter, which began on December 1st. Here's the 5 days so far in December, and it has been well below normal. These greens are more than 10 degrees colder than normal. So the cold air has been funneling in to the eastern United States and even into the central U.S., but man, we just have not been able to get any snow in the New York City metro area despite this cold. It's been really frustrating because the cold has come in and it's been cold and dry, and then the warmth has come in when it's been precipitating. So that's been rainfall followed by cold, and that's just been really just a function of the pattern that's been in place. So let's take a look at what's happening right now, and I want to talk about what's coming ahead here and what we can expect this winter. So there's a couple things to talk about, really technical terms, but let's break them down and make them simple and understandable, right? So here's a picture of the United States, and we're just looking at heights in the atmosphere. So this is just 10,000 feet up. The blues and greens here are troughs, or lower than normal heights, and the reds and oranges are ridges, or higher than normal heights. And so you see this ridge here on the west coast that we just flipped over to on the screen. This ridge is pushing all the way up into the Arctic. This is Alaska here, so pushing way up there into the Arctic. And what it's doing is it's dislodging all this air that's here and pushing it straight down. Like what goes up must come down, right? So this ridge is going all the way up into the Arctic, and that air mass is flying down into the Great Lakes in the Northeast. And that's why it's been so cold here over the last several days. The problem with this is that every time the cold comes in, the cold just passes by, it gets really chilly, and then there's nothing to hold the cold in. So the air mass just warms up big time, just like it will next week along the coast, and you just flip to rain. Again, there's nothing holding the cold in. When a storm comes up here, it just pushes that cold out, and we flip over to rain, and cold comes back in afterwards. So that's not a good pattern to get snow. And unfortunately, things are going to get worse before they get better as we move into mid-December if you are a snow lover. So here's this ridge out west, right? Talked about what's going on right now. This is our next problem. We're looking at a picture of the Pacific Ocean, and this is just a jet stream, folks. So this is a very strong jet stream traversing all the way across the Pacific Ocean. Here's the left side of it over Eastern Asia, and here's the other side reaching the California coast and British Columbia. All of this jet stream is just pushing momentum towards the United States. As you can see here, this jet is just flying towards the U.S., and all this air here is really warm. So this is going to push warm air towards the United States. And so the weather pattern across the U.S. is going to get warmer before it gets colder. So our snow chances here in mid-December are not going to be very high. We're going to warm up, and we're unlikely to see a chance for a snowstorm in New York before Christmas. I think this pattern likely gets warmer. However, the pattern is changing, and when that Pacific jet stream that we just looked at, when that backs off, that same height chart we were just looking at starts to change again. And by the time we get into January, you see a lot more blue developing here across the United States, and we have a lot of ridging out here in the Pacific and up here in the Arctic regions. That means that cold air will start to build back into Canada and into the northern third of the United States in January. Look at the temperature departures. Initially, they're near normal, and then as you get deeper into January, the models say it's going to get cold everywhere. And this is what we need to see if you want to see snow in New York. You need to see a lot of cold nearby and a pattern that can allow for storms to come up the coast. And that's kind of what we see here. This orange up here in Greenland keeps that cold locked in and allows the storms to come up and move up the coast while still keeping things cold. So that's what I'm looking for here. Is right now this pattern as we head into December is not going to be great. Mid-December, this Pacific jet stream is not our friend if you like snow, and it's going to push all this mild air into the U.S. and warm things up. But after Christmas, as we head into January, you see this warm pattern just disappear on a lot of the long-range models, and this cold air starts to reappear. That's what you want to see if you want to get back into some activity. So I think this winter has a bunch of tricks left up its sleeve, and it's likely that January is going to be the beginning of the chances to get some serious snow here in New York, especially given the fact that the models are showing colder air building across the entire Northeast and the rest of the central United States during that time frame. There's not necessarily a huge precipitation signal, but you see some green here near the coast. That's the model saying that things are going to be active. So we will have our chances at a snowstorm in January, and there will be cold around. So hang on, your patience is going to be rewarded here. We're going to go into a little bit of a rough stretch over the next 2 weeks, but January is when the fun could begin. Winter is far, far, far from over, and I do think there's a good chance of a big snowstorm in New York at some point this winter. We'll be watching really, really closely, and I'll be breaking it down with you guys as we go through it. Thanks so much for watching today. We'll keep you updated as we go through the next couple days. Have a great night, guys.